The role of the Society of Jesus is to help souls. Help souls. We are not primarily educators. We are not primarily parish priests. We are people on a mission, and we are sent to do what needs to be done when no one else is willing or able to do that work, to help souls. The Jesuits recognized that institutions are social projections, that we have access to human persons, their souls, their real life, when we open a book and discover truth and research and help a student learn. That is soul creation, and that's what the Society of Jesus does. Regis is an especially powerful means for helping souls. Jesuit education started in 1548 in a little town you might recognize. It's in Sicily. It's called Messina. The merchants of that town wrote Ignatius and said, "We know how to teach our children to be good business people. We're merchants. We know this really well. What we don't know how to do, and what we want you to do, is to teach them that there's more. The magis. There is more. There's method. And there's a grounding in our own humanity and the creation of community." And so Jesuit education really is rooted in the humanities. Well, that doesn't mean we don't do excellent business. We do. Regis has been for 140 years this year a small portion of that effort to educate and help souls. We take to heart our role at Regis University to be that means of helping souls, or commonly, and you have heard this phrase over and over, women and men in service of others. That's what helping souls means in our world today. Therefore, our task is to reach as many of those souls as we possibly can. Business touches every soul on this planet. It may not always look like Amazon.com, thank God, but there is business going on everywhere. The Aspen Institute describes the current state of business like this. Business, and I quote, "what we create, where we work, where we shop, what we buy, and who we invest in." That has become a source of identity and purpose and power. And this is why we decided to bring a College of Business and Economics to Regis University 2 years ago by merging 3 very successful smaller programs. If business is a source of our identities and our power and our purpose, not the sole one, but a very important one, Jesuit business education must lead the way in developing not only the intellect, but also the self, the soul, the spirit. We like to say at the College of Business and Economics, we are stewards of society. And the goal we have in the College of Business and Economics is to improve life on earth. Why? For souls. The Opus Prize recognizes this confluence of business and one's soul. You only have to look at Sarah and talk to her for 2 minutes, and you will know, you will have a perfect picture of what helping souls looks like. I wish you were a Regis graduate. Not because I want the money. Okay, I do, but not that. It could not be more important in our era that the business school is dedicated to helping souls. Jesuit business education right now really is what the world needs. As we are all witnessing the cultural shift, asking for capitalism to return to its roots and be a model for serving society, not dominating society. I am proud, more than I can say, of what our business school does, who our graduates are, and what they do to serve souls in our world. I'm proud that Regis has the privilege of hearing about business from Opus Prize winners like Sarah Lance, and you will hear more as the Opus Week rolls around to us. You will hear much more. Sarah, allow me to speak for the whole community of Regis University when I say, welcome. This is your home. You are welcome here in untold ways, which we'd like to tell you about. Please welcome Sarah.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here with you. I'm going to say I a lot, but actually what I mean is we. I'm talking about the 150 or more people behind me that you can't see that are living in Kolkata, India, that are a part of the story of Sari Bari. I'm just going to share with you a little tiny part that is my story. So when I say I, think we. I am an accidental entrepreneur. I have a degree in fine art. I wish I could say I have an MBA. I have an MBA in the School of Hard Knocks, read a lot of books, and I have hands-on experience in building a business. I did not originally go about seeking to use business as a tool for transformation. My only goal, or tentative hope, was to find a way for women in Calcutta's sex trade to find freedom in whatever way possible. I actually started out volunteering with the Missionaries of Charity, feeding and bathing the dying in Calcutta. I spent years serving and volunteering, trying to gain some wisdom from the sisters who have given their lives to the service of the poorest of the poor. And then in 2002, after first entering the red light area of Calcutta, I spent a lot of time listening and waiting, and a good long time feeling powerless because I wasn't sure how we as a community could make an impact. As I spent time in the red light area, I began to build relationships with women, women who were working what they call the line in Calcutta, because the red light area is a very long street. Just think of it as this kind of center aisleway, and the girls are standing in a line waiting for customers. I began to talk to these girls and listen to their stories, and we'd have regular conversations about what we ate, because that's a really important conversation in West Bengal. What did you eat today? Did you eat rice? My answer was often no, but that basically means you're starving. As I began to know them, I began to hear their stories. I began to call them my friends, began to go visit them and engage them on a daily basis and understand where they were coming from and what their needs were. I met Rupa and Jilik and listened to their stories, and I looked through their hard eyes and into their broken hearts and their broken dreams and saw that they were moms and sisters and daughters. I saw and heard that there were no options for them once they were in the sex trade, whether it was through trafficking or trickery or poverty that brought them there. Once they were there was no way out. They had aged out of rescue, which you often hear about, but that's rare. And now they were culturally marginalized and socially outcast, often still the primary breadwinners for their families. These women, my friends, had no options. The next step was to become a part of the cycle, to traffic a girl, or to become a madam. So how did I become a social entrepreneur? I met a 16-year-old girl named Pinky, who'd only been in the sex trade for 10 days. And she was there because she had no other economic options to support her family. I saw her need, and it broke my heart. And I called out to God, "Where are you for Pinky?" And I made a promise that with God's help, I would never walk away from a girl like Pinky again. I saw the need, and I felt the need with aching clarity, and I began to seek a solution. That's what an entrepreneur does. They see a need, or in some cases, they create a need, and then they act to fulfill it, hopefully with some good for society. The entrepreneur is a catalyst for change. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak changed the world with the Apple computer. I mean, how many of you here have an iPhone? They changed the world. We have been changed by them because we have those phones in our pockets. Mother Teresa, now Saint Teresa of Calcutta, is another kind of social entrepreneur, founded an order that served the poorest of the poor in Calcutta. She saw the need, engaged, and proposed a solution that multiplied itself into world change. The entrepreneur sees the need or the problem, engages the problem, and wrestles with it to gain understanding of it, and then proposes a unique solution. Entrepreneurs give everything they have to make it work. I mean everything. Blood, sweat, too many hours to count, and lots of tears. Founders of every kind do this, from founders of freedom businesses like Sari Bari to founder of Uber and Tom's Shoes and Google and Amazon. They give their everything to see their dream become a reality. So here's the problem that we saw in Calcutta. This is the problem we wanted to address. A girl in India is trafficked every 8 minutes. So while I'm talking to you here today, 2, if not 3 girls will be trafficked in India. West Bengal and its surrounding states are the poorest in India. Poverty makes girls vulnerable to trafficking. Poverty makes people vulnerable to trafficking, and especially girls. Sonagachi is one of the largest red light districts in Asia. It's home to more than 11,000 women and is located in the center of Calcutta. Calcutta itself is home to more than 60,000 brothel-based women. The women that we were engaging, that we were meeting in the red light area had no education. They could not read or write, and they had no opportunities for work other than washing someone's floor. This is the problem we were seeking to engage. This is the problem we were seeking to solve. We had to lean in and listen, observe, and ask lots of questions. Having engaged the overwhelming problem, for 5 years, visiting the girls, listening and waiting, we began to form a possible solution. The women said they wanted jobs, different jobs. They wanted to support their families. They wanted to keep their kids in school. So a solution formed out of engagement, out of listening, formed out of relationship. Ultimately, it was formed by love. For me, entrepreneurship was compelled by love, for one woman to find freedom, for a desire to create something lasting, self-sustaining, and ultimately empowering. Starting a business was about creating opportunity for women, the women who would become my friends, and meeting them where they were in their unique situation. Sari Bari was simply the solution to the problem of providing an economic option to women trapped in the commercial sex trade who had no other options. Despite the language we often use around the issue of sex trafficking, the women we encountered in Calcutta did not live as victims, nor did they desire to do so. They wanted and needed economic opportunity. A different economic opportunity than sex work would allow them to support their families and live with dignity without shame. So we started Sari Bari, not as a nonprofit, but as a business. Business can be a powerful tool for transformation. I believe that God created us for work. There's nothing more empowering or dignity-giving than a job. I have often said that I am converted. I am a fanatic. There is probably little you can do to convince me that what the majority world needs most is well-paid employment opportunities for those without education and opportunity. There is a desperate need for dignifying jobs that provide training and benefits instead of the slave labor that produces so much of what we consume. Women in the majority world desperately need employment opportunities. Employment options for women make them less vulnerable to be tricked or trafficked into the sex trade. Women are the poorest of the world's poor, and employment in a safe, well-paid job is not only a way out of poverty, but a future for their children and hope for something better for their daughters. The UN statistics on women are eye-opening. Women represent 70% of the world's 1.3 billion people who live in poverty. Currently, the majority of women earn on average 3/4 of the pay that men earn for the same work. In most countries, women work approximately twice as hard, work approximately twice the unpaid time men do. And currently, 1 in every 4 households in the world is now headed by a woman. These women give backbone to their families and their communities, and well-paid employment opportunities provide them with a way out of poverty and a way forward in dignity. And like I said, the women that we met in the red light areas are not looking for a handout or a temporary solution to their entrapment. They were looking for a way out that would last. Business was the tool that we used to create opportunities for freedom, an opportunity for women to leave the sex trade where they had not had opportunity before. More than creating employment, we created choice for women who previously had no choice. We had to create a business that would work for the women with their unique challenges. We went with a traditional handicraft that was common to West Bengal. We used local resources. We met women where they were and brought them along. Sari Bari today is a freedom business which provides freedom and opportunity through employment to women exploited in the commercial sex industry and to young women who are vulnerable to trafficking. The women at Sari Bari are trained as artisans, taking vintage saris and upcycling them into beautiful quilts and bags using a traditional kanta stitch. Every product is marked by a woman's name, and every purchase participates in her freedom. If you check out the products over there, you'll see that every product has the name of the woman who made it, the artisan who stitched it. Her name is stitched there into the bag or blanket. Sari Bari opened its doors in 2006 with 3 women, and now employs more than 138 women for freedom, and has more women currently in training taking the next step toward freedom and a new life. So what have been the challenges of the last almost 12 years? Well, one of the greatest challenges we face as a business is the choice around the people we have chosen to employ. Employing vulnerable women, traumatized women, women with more than their fair share of health challenges, and also seeking to be profitable at the same time. In a traditional fair trade business, you hire the best people at the best wages, and you offer the goods at a price point that reflects the skills of the artisans. A business like Sari Bari, a freedom business, we employ a challenging group with no skills and no or low literacy and the aforementioned challenges, and we train them to become artisans while paying them the best wages and benefits like healthcare and retirement. If you're an entrepreneur seeking to meet the triple bottom line of people, profit, and planet, then you will face complex and unique challenges that you may not face if your only purpose is financial gain. How do you balance valuing people and profit? Ultimately, to survive in any business, you have to be profitable, right? We walk a tightrope on cash flow. Productivity is never where we hope it will be, and we face unique issues in India with getting the materials we need when we need them. We face the same challenges as any manufacturing business. We have pipeline issues and quality control issues, even though we have specifically committed ourselves to making quality products. We were not looking for sympathy buys. We wanted to create something beautiful that people wanted to buy. We wanted to compete with Anthropologie and Pottery Barn and Target. And we're thankful that we made that commitment to quality, and still it's a challenge to ensure that we turn out the same thing every single time. Another one of the challenges or the realities of building a social business is failure. we all face the possibility of failure. There's nothing that has teeth and transforms us like failure. We have so much to learn. I've had so much to learn when things fell apart. When we first started Sari Bari, my biggest fear was failure. What would happen if this business failed? Because businesses do fail. 90% of them fail in the first year. Of that 10% who make it, another 90% fail within the next 5 years. And then that repeats itself again at 10 years. Failure is the norm, not the exception in business. But failure seems like much less of an option when you know that lives are at stake. If Sari Bari failed, women went back to the sex trade. It's still a daunting reality almost 12 years later. How can we continue to sustain the business? How can we continue to engage the market with fresh product? How can we move from being story forward to being product forward? How long will this type of product be workable? How do we keep up with the market and keep growing and evolving as a business? Those are the big picture questions, but there's also the internal daily decisions that can threaten your business and your sanity. Pay raises, do you have the right staff in the right places? Can you afford the people you really need to do the job? How to function under a government that's corrupt, and that makes running a business with integrity so difficult. I confess to having failed more times than I can count. I've lost my temper, I've made the wrong decisions. My failures as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a business owner have no end. They are legion. Thankfully, Sari Bari survived anyway, and it survived because it's built on 1,000 small failures. If we had let those failures stop us, if we had not acknowledged those failures and grown from them, we would not be here today. Failure is the fertilizer for becoming a better business, for loving people better, for becoming a better leader. If I have any advice, it is let failure be your building block. Let it propel you forward. Don't let it stop you. Learn from it. You will fail. But when you fail forward. Let failure be your fertilizer for the next steps. Another important thing that I learned is that nobody builds a business alone. You need a team of people, and I'm thankful to say that I've had an amazing team of people over the years to help build Sari Bari as a business, and a lot of them were volunteers. People who taught me how to read a profit loss and how to do fixed and variable costs, because I didn't know what that was. I was costing products, not really understanding how to do that. I had people who taught me formulas in Excel, how I can't even list all the things that I learned from different people who came in, spent a week with us or 2 weeks with us, and taught me something I needed to know to be able to run a business better. I did not have a business degree, so I had to reach out for the resources. I had to learn to ask for what I needed. I had to learn to know what I needed, and then ask for that help. So Sari Bari is still around 11, almost 12 years later. How did that happen? I have to say, as I've said before, that there were many, many people contributed and helped us grow and build healthy business. But we were really the catalysts to the true heroes of this story. Who are the heroes of this story? The heroes, in the case of most businesses, are the entrepreneurs. But in the story of Sari Bari, it is the women themselves who believed that their own freedom was possible and made it possible every day with their choice to come to work. We say to them, this is your business. We simply built the platform on which the women of Sari Bari can stand, but the next steps are always in their hands. They had to want it, they had to build it, they had to believe in it, not only for themselves, but for the women who would follow them. The entire middle management team of Sari Bari is comprised of women who have found freedom at Sari Bari and are now managers and assistant managers and trainers. They are leading others to freedom and building the future. They are the heroes of their own stories. No one rescued them. They rescued themselves. Sari Bari is the safe place where they launched their freedom journey and began to believe that their lives had value. I could not be more honored to be a part of the Sari Bari community and to have had the privilege of walking with women as they walk the road to freedom. As I wrap this up, I want to say one thing to you entrepreneurs out there that was said to me when I started. Dream for things you will never see. When I went to Calcutta, my hope was that one woman would find freedom, even if I gave 10 years of my life. My dreams were far too small. So my challenge to you is dream bigger. Dream for things that you may never see. Start with a 50-year plan and work backwards. Thank you.